Even as VR is closer to the mainstream than it's ever been before, we see it constantly facing more and more barriers. Whether that's countries blocking top companies from entering, mainstream media still trying to push that VR is dead, or the industry just not getting the big names and IPs that we need to really attract a mainstream crowd. But at least there is good news still coming, and one of which is Meta is actually looking to relax some of its actual physical boundaries. If you've used most modern VR headsets, you know that you have to set up a room boundary so that it tries to warn you if you get too near a wall so that you don't punch it or something else in your surroundings. This is a problem VR had for a long time, but in the early days didn't always have solution to where you were just running around a room and destroying it.
Get the knife. Oh! He's biting the tree. Oh.
Recently, in a system software update, Meta started allowing that some apps will no longer need the boundary that you have to set up. This is for now for mixed reality apps, and it's something that makes a lot of sense because the boundary system is something that really was carried forward from VR, but for mixed reality, it's not really necessary. When you can see the actual physical walls in the room around you, when you can see a desk next to you, you don't need a boundary popping up when you get too near it telling you not to punch it because you can see it's actually there. Unfortunately, this is not an easy process for every developer yet. This is being specifically whitelisted per developer by Meta so that all mixed reality apps can't just suddenly drop the Guardian. Ones that really make sense, like the First Encounters demo that is included with all Quest 3s, you're playing in a room, and if you set those walls exactly to the wall of your room, you get near the wall and then that boundary would pop up, breaking your immersion. People asking on Twitter, why don't they just allow this for all mixed reality apps? Mark Rapkin over at Meta responding that they're still figuring out how to do it in practice. Mixed reality modes are still blending a lot of it, so some mixed reality apps only open up a few windows in your room. It's still important to have a boundary where your actual wall is if the game doesn't represent that boundary. Personally, I love seeing things like this get relaxed though, because the more and more ways you break immersion and the more ways you make VR more tedious or MR, it makes it harder for people to really enjoy their experience. Beyond gaming and mixed reality, sports, whether it's a sports game or sports training simulators, have been a great way for VR and MR to make it closer to a mainstream audience. And when we see a big name like Major League Baseball actually making an official game and it making it this week over from App Lab to the official Meta store, that is big news. MLB Home Run Derby VR is going to be launching on the official Meta Quest store today, March 28th. The game's got 30 actual Major League ballparks, there's tons of levels of progression, and even 8-player multiplayer tournaments. The game also has cosmetics to get bat skins, there's custom clubhouses, and more. If you haven't already checked out this MLB Home Run Derby, I'll leave a link in the comments and description down below. Thank you to them for sponsoring today's news, and congratulations for making it from the App Lab to the official Meta Quest store. That's such a coveted position for all developers right now. Another big boundary for VR has been geographical locations and limits of selling headsets there, and we just reported to you that Apple Vision Pro actually is going to be launching in China, a market that Meta has basically been blocked out of. Meta is now announcing they are still reportedly planning to bring a cheaper version of the Quest 3 to China via Tencent, the company there. This is something reports have gone back and forth on. We've talked about this a couple times, but basically Tencent was going to handle distribution in China, so that way Meta could finally get a device there, and it was supposedly this Quest 3S or Quest 3 Lite we've been talking about, which is like the Quest 3 but with cheaper lenses, making a cheaper price point for China. Reports have gone back and forth on this a lot, so take it with a grain of salt, but if this truly happens, it would mean not only would Apple make it into China, but Meta would also be bringing competition in, where the Pico headset is probably the strongest competitor there. This would be huge for all of VR to see this reaching across the landscape of the entire world, but it does seem like by all the reports, Apple will probably still beat Meta to the Chinese market, albeit with their very expensive Apple Vision Pro. If you've been keeping an eye out for more Quest 3 games that are finally getting their Quest 3 updates, making them look as good as possible, there's one game that I absolutely love because it makes the Quest feel boundaryless if you're walking around in your real space around you, and that's Eye of the Temple. Eye of the Temple is getting a visual boost now, real-time shadows from your torch, 90 frames per second almost everywhere, with a few spots running 80 frames per second, improved texture resolutions and sampling, and they're actually disabling foveated rendering so that all of the screen can be clear at all times. If you have Eye of the Temple, now would be a good time to get back in, check it out. And I will say, this is a game, if you have a safe space outside where you're not going to be at risk of getting sunshine inside of the headset, it's really cool to play this one outside, feel the real breeze coming at you, and it's something that really reminds you that someday VR could be boundaryless and feel just amazing to play. And if you're looking for more games that allow you to feel that mixed reality perspective that feels like you're still in the real world while playing, Angry Birds VR has now added a mixed reality update for the Quest that just launched. You can bring the Angry Worlds home on your coffee table. You can actually move it around the room to the place that's most convenient for you to play. Hand tracking allows you to go controllerless while playing. For a game like Angry Birds that was something we were used to quickly picking up on a phone or a tablet, to now be something that plays so well and so easily in mixed reality, it kind of feels like you get a little bit of that convenience back, but it does feel like you're playing a more miniature version in mixed reality rather than playing fully immersed with the world being the true scale like when you tried it in VR. In our recent video talking about how far VR has come, a lot more of you actually responded in the comments saying you play a lot of mixed reality, you're mostly in mixed reality on the headset, which really interested me. So it's cool to see these VR games actually adding more of the entire game rather than just a small mode separately to the side. Hopefully for everyone who's really enjoying the mixed reality, we'll see more and more of that coming, maybe even with integrations where you can keep your YouTube player up on the wall while playing something else. Safety is another boundary where a lot of people feel limited by VR, especially people who have had a horrible accident like punching their child. There's a lot of great dancing games and rhythm games for VR like Beat Saber that have you moving a lot though in the virtual world and not necessarily seeing what's around you. Laser Dance is looking to change that a little bit with their room scale mixed reality. From the maker of Cubism, which is a game I actually enjoyed one time on an airplane in mixed reality mode and got some really weird looks. Laser Dance can pit you feeling like a spy trying to dodge lasers and make it through your own actual room, completely feeling different now in a mixed reality world. Laser Dance is also another game though to add to the list of things that are coming more exclusively to the Quest 3. We start to see that more and more, making us hope that the rumor of a Quest 3 Lite at a cheaper price point like the Quest 2 will help bridge that gap if we keep seeing this division. Although we've seen plenty of people taking the Quest 3 or especially the Apple Vision Pro outside, wearing it in the real world, trying to take away all the boundaries that we have left, the technology is going to advance in a direction, hopefully a better form factor, that it could truly be useful to us in the actual world. As we're starting to see the movement towards hopefully augmented reality glasses like Meta's mentioned will be on demonstration this year at Meta Connect. Some of the smart glasses are getting a lot more useful, and Solos Ergo 3 smart glasses are now able to translate up to 25 languages. When I personally worked in the service industry, more than once people would bring up their phone and they would have a live translator set up on their phone. But think about how much easier it'd be with glasses that have microphones and can talk directly into your ears if it can really keep up with a real-time conversation. It leaves me excited about the future of technology, all of this technology and how it can make life simpler, can make traveling, foreign exchange students, all kinds of things that can really change. Really hoping by the end of this year we start to see a bit more of that augmented reality vision and something that's a little bit lighter and easier to wear everywhere than all these people going around town with their Apple Vision Pros on. But it leaves me thinking, how do you feel about this? Do you feel like the current state of VR, it's still something you're mostly playing at home? Is it something that you want to take and share places? Or if you're using it for productivity, would you feel comfortable wearing it in a coffee shop to have multiple monitors while having your laptop in front of you? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to continue the conversation there. But once again, thank you for being here with me, and I'll see you in another reality.